Thanks.
Hello, dear all. English Without Borders welcomes all of you to our series of EWB Thursday webinars. And right now at 6 p.m. Tajikistan time, lots of our followers joining us via Facebook and Zoom. And we are hosting Mitchell Bradford, who will talk about the topic EAP is boring. What can we do? So let me introduce him to you the sixth time. So Mitchell Bradford is currently an English language fellow for the U.S. Department of State's English language programs, and is based in Hangzhou Normal University, where he teaches academic writing, trains staff, teaches PE courses, and coaches football. Hailing from Arkansas, Southern USA, he holds degree in foreign languages, Southern Arkansas University and TESOL University of Nottingham, Ningbo, China, along with a Delta. Mitchell has taught in the US and China from kindergarten to university. And he also helps with teacher training courses held by the Regional English Language Office, RELO, at the US Embassy in Beijing, in China, and around Asia. Mitchell has published and presented research internationally about EAP, virtual education, and intercultural communication in English and Spanish. He is partaking in TESOL doctoral studies at the University of St. Andrews and is exploring the challenges of EAP teachers and students at SIMO Foreign Institution and teacher professional development. So thank you so much, dear audience, for joining us today. And dear Mitchell, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Cool, thanks so much. So yeah, this is my sixth time doing this with you guys
Yeah.
this year, and then I have another one in December. Yeah, so it's been a while. Cool. So let me go ahead and share my screen and let's look at what we're doing today and stuff. Cool. All right. So today we're going to be looking at kind of it's related to a study that I did last year, and it has been an ongoing kind of study for a while. I keep seeing people put messages in the box. I'm like, what's that message? All right, great. So today we're looking at EAP is boring. What can we do? So a little bit of a background. So EAP means English for academic purposes. It's pretty much English that is helping students prepare for their studies. So it is usually at universities, though some schools actually do it. It's focusing on stuff such as, writing your essay. How do you write essay? How uh, how do you do research? How do you use the library? How do you do citations? How to do reference lists? Stuff like that, all in English. How to read, how to do presentations, how to read academic text, how to go about, noting and paraphrasing text and stuff like that. Now, the thing is, lots of students are saying that it is boring. Some teachers think EAP is boring because it's so academic. It is lots of writing. It's very writing focused. I teach writing now in my university. But so, and then we're going to talk about what are some things that we can do to make it not so boring for us as teachers, but also, for the students, of course, because sometimes we get bored ourselves teaching, right? All right, so a bit about me. So my name is Mitchell R. Bradford Jr. If you guys don't know, there's my WeChat. I should put my Instagram. I'll show you guys my Facebook and Instagram and stuff later. But cool. So, I'm from New Annenberg, Arkansas, which is in the south of the U.S. Down here at the bottom, we see my state and my hometown with the green dot. So it's a very small farming town in the south of the U.S. I am an English language fellow, which is through the U.S. Department of State's English language programs. Pretty much, I work under the regional English language office at the U.S. Embassy in Beijing. I do stuff with them. I get to travel around Asia training English teachers. So mostly in China. I'm in Mongolia now, where I'll be doing some stuff with teachers for the next couple of days. I'll be going to Thailand in January. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. At my university, so I'm placed at a university. So at Hangzhou Normal University, I teach graduate thesis writing to students. So students who are doing their masters, as well as speaking courses and teaching kind of methodology kind of class to nursing and public health teachers and professors. I spend a good bit of my time doing sports classes though. So I do physical education kind of classes. I teach students how to do workouts. Pretty much, I teach students who want to be physical trainers or PE coaches as a job. So I teach them how to do workouts with students and how to do it safely and stuff. And then I do some other PE kind of classes, sports history and stuff. And then flag football. So I also coach football, and it's pretty cool, especially the football part. That's really unique. I'm also a student myself, so some things are boring for me because I'm a student. So I'm doing my doctorate right now with the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. Here's my email. If you guys want my email, need my email later on, I'll share my Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. If you guys want to keep up or keep in touch. Also, if you want any of my materials, just send me an email or Instagram message, Facebook, whatever, and I will share my stuff with you guys. Cool. All right, let's look at what we have going on. So this kind of started from a research thing that I was telling you about. So I did one big study last year. I had over 100 teachers, over 500 students from Sino-foreign, kind of transnational universities in China. They all did this really big survey, and then I put it all together and did 10 interviews with teachers, 10 interviews with students about the challenges of EAP. And one of the things was that EAP is just boring. I think that was the number one thing. It's just a boring class, and that's the main challenge. The other challenges were cultural stuff, and then AI was kind of a thing as well. But yeah, the number one thing was EAP is boring. It's just a boring class. It's boring to write essays, um, or to read and academic text. So from that study, I got two publications out of it. So this came out sometime in the spring. Here are those chapters for a book, chapters and two chapters in one book. If you guys are interested in that, that's kind of cool. Yeah. But with that, so one of the challenges was, EAP is boring. So we're going to look at why is EAP boring? Why do students think EAP is boring? We're going to look at the views of the students. And then we're going to look at making tasks more active, more engaging, more fun, because that's one of the main reasons why it's boring. And then also towards building and improving rapport with students, which is another reason why students don't like EAP or think EAP is not very interesting. And then if we build rapport and stuff, it can make it more tolerable, more interesting, more engaging. And then some suggestions overall, and then a nice little conclusion in my final word. Okay, awesome. Great. All right. Now we're gonna drop some stuff in the chat box really quick. But why do some students think EAP is boring? So I want to know what you guys think. You guys can unmute yourself, or you can use the drop box, the chat box and stuff. What are some reasons you think students believe EAP to be boring? What do you guys think?
Mr. Mitchell, can I? Fons.
Go for it, Fons.
Yeah, hello, dear colleagues. Like in this question, I can answer that why do some students think EAP is boring? Generally talking, as I'm in Tajikistan, I can say one thing that as I teach like high school students, mostly like 9, 10, 11th grades. So English for academic purposes, yeah, it is like actually, they students think EAP is boring. It's because of like students might feel overwhelmed by strict standards and expectations from this. So they like how to say there is like maybe lack of creativity. There is usually like personal opinions or creative expressions. There is no creativity, and also there are lots of formal writings, reading academic text. As I know, like most of the students, they don't like writing. maybe that's because of nowadays most of the students they use laptops, their tablets in order to type. So it's better for them to like not to write by handwriting. So writing it's like tough because there are lots of students who have problem with the critical thinking. They are not imaginative in order to write to create something. That's why they are using ChatGPT, right? And reading academic texts. There are lots of, yes, in English for academic purposes, like reading academic text might be very tough for them to understand because there are like different topics. Um, I think the most reasons are like that. And also, why like EAP can feel boring. It's, for example, if we talk about cultural disconnect, like under this title, for example, for international students, some topics or some expectations might feel unfamiliar or irrelevant. Maybe that's because of that students like think that the EAP can feel boring. So thanks for attention. It's just my opinion.
Nice. Thanks, Hans.
Can
So
I
yeah,
add?
Fernando also put some stuff in the group chat. Yeah, go ahead, Elena. Go. What do
Can
you got,
I add
Elena?
something? So
Yeah, go for it.
I've been working with students for a long time, and I can say that everything which isn't in the focus of their interests is boring for them. And
Yeah.
everything, sometimes what imposes duties on them is boring too, in any language, in their mother tongue, in English as well. So, and it needs some thorough concentration, and they often feel tired to be concentrated. As they go to bed too late, they wake up too early, they use their mobile too often, and so they find it boring to be focused on something which needs thorough concentration. And also, it is the peculiarity of the age when they want to enjoy easy life in any attitude. Uh, and so they find it boring because now the research is not the center of their life for them. They are just the beginners, and everything too, what is challenging can seem boring to them. They can appreciate it later when they become older and more experienced in this field.
Yeah, cool. So we got some good stuff. So about, it's kind of difficult. They don't want to do anything that doesn't interest them. Fernando threw in stuff about, cultural differences, stuff with hedging, stuff with citation, stuff with critical thinking. Yeah, there's lots of rules. There's not a lot of interaction sometimes. Cool. All right. So instead of me giving you guys my ideas, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at what some students have said. So I'm gonna throw this in the chat box. If you guys have, if you want to scan the QR code, you can scan the QR code. But here is some quotes from students um, about why EAP is kind of boring and stuff. All right. And so now I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to get that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. And that is gonna look like this here. Cool. So that should be this one. If it's not this one, let me know. But here, so pretty much I want you guys to read these. So we have it looks like 6 quotes from students. And pretty much I want you guys to read them, give a heart to the ones that you think sounds like your students. You can comment on them, like why do students think like this, just anything you want. This is if we were live, which hopefully one day we will be. This would be kind of like a gallery walk. But until then, we're stuck with hearts and comments on quotes. But yeah, so these are some quotes from students from that one study I did last year. So we see, why they think EEP is kind of boring and stuff like that. So we see a couple of things. All right, I'll stop talking for a little bit and let you all read and write some comments and stuff. Also, if you want to like unmute and talk for a bit, we can do that too, or put things in chat box. Okay, cool. So I give y'all guys some time to read these, and these are kind of cool because I think a lot of teachers do workshops or trainings like this kind of stuff, and it's usually just what teachers think. So I think it's really cool to actually have what did the students think, and try to adapt what we do based on the students feedback and stuff. So cool. So let me kind of summarize these really quick. So pretty much, the teacher asks questions. They don't really, especially this is in China, where students, don't answer in the class. They're very used to being called on in class. There's no like open question to the class. They don't do that. They're not used to that. Sometimes the teacher talks too fast. I can't understand their instructions. I don't know what to do next. I get lost. Therefore, I don't like EAP. I can't understand. If I can't understand, I get bored. It's boring. I play on my phone. The teacher just depends on the PPT. Doesn't do anything besides that. Groups are always fixed. She doesn't. We can't. We're not switching with different partners. Um, we don't have a close relationship with the teacher. We don't dare talk to her. Some kids don't like her. Sometimes we don't understand what she's saying, and then we don't know what to do, and then she gets mad at us because she doesn't think we're listening. But the thing is, like, really, she doesn't check to see if they're understanding. So this is what one student said about their teacher and stuff. Some teachers, forget some details that are, really important, like remembering kids' names, encouraging different students, the whole thing about calling on students, um, instead of open to just an open question. I really like this one. So I hate some EAP teachers. The class is boring. They only read the PPT. They only follow the steps on the PPT. They don't want to relate to the students. They don't want to, build rapport. They want to establish a relationship. We meet every week, and the teacher cannot remember my name after a semester of class. And then it gets to the point where there's only two kids in the class, and she still can't remember my name, or he can't remember my name. Out of 20 people, only two kids show up. And then it's just a kind of a cycle where class is boring, the students don't want to go to class, the students don't go to class, the teacher doesn't want to make class more interesting because there's not many students, and then the number of students drops. So it's a cycle where there's fewer and fewer students. One foreign teacher, I think maybe we don't understand what he's saying. The main problem is that we don't know English very well. We're still learning English. And so we see this thing where the teacher struggles to do, I+1, where you want your language to be just a little bit more difficult than the students can understand. But we have some teachers who have their language too high, too difficult for students to understand. And when we don't understand, we just play on our phones, we talk to other students, we don't know what to do. And we're not supposed to speak Chinese. The teacher doesn't speak Chinese, so we can't tell them that we don't understand. We can't explain ourselves. Our English is poor. They can't speak Chinese. We can't share our meaning. We can't talk about our problems. So this is something that happens. We hear here, see here, the teacher sometimes just talks and talks and talks in the class. We're doing some task. I think it's boring. We can't focus. Some teachers go too fast. We can't understand their accent. I get lost. The teacher doesn't always show me how to improve. They want me to look up or figure out stuff on my own. I don't know how to fix my own problems. I need somebody to help me, to tell me how to do it, to explain to me more. The teacher says it many, many, many times, but I forget it. And I can't find how to help my paper. So then with this, we see, teachers not checking students understand and kind of just going with the material, going with the PPT, just click, 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 click. Okay, my job is done. I taught and class is over. But the students didn't quite understand. Um, so here's a nice little summary of all that. Pretty much we see an ineffective teaching style, which I came up with this kind of idea during interviews when I did interviews with people. The idea that teaching does not equal learning. So a lot of teachers will teach, they go to class and they teach, they do the PPT, they do the book, and then they leave. But did the students actually learn what where they were supposed to? And sometimes, yeah, sometimes no. But then a lot of teachers don't seem to. Some teachers maybe don't care. Some teachers just think as long as I finish the PPT, as long as I finish the book, or the chapter for the day, my job is done. So it's quite fun working with teachers and telling them, like, actually, your job is to make sure students are learning. Your job is not to just teach, you know? So the idea that teaching is not learning. So it's really cool asking a teacher, what do you do? Oh, I teach. I'm a teacher. Okay, what do teachers do? Teachers teach. Yeah, teachers teach, but really teachers are supposed to make sure students learn. So teaching is not learning. So with that, we see, students are talking about the classes are very teacher-centered. There's just lecturing, reading from the book, reading from the PPT, not relating or becoming familiar with students. So not building a rapport, not, building a relationship. Teachers also not adapting to students. So seeing students who are struggling. So if students don't understand something, you should go back over it, and try to make it more simpler. Draw pictures. I had a student yesterday, we were talking about, with one of my graduate writing classes, about how to synthesize your literature review and the difference between summary and summarizing and synthesizing stuff. And so I tried to draw pictures to help explain what that was to him and stuff, and did lots of motions about they all come together like pieces of a puzzle and stuff, just trying to help him get the concept. We also saw that EAP kind of has not very many, some topics that are not very interesting, or maybe some students think it's not very useful. I know lots of EAP stuff is like job skill stuff or stuff that's kind of boring, very academic, like deforestation, extinction, climate change. After a while, you get bored of that, you know. So topics are boring, just like what we said. Some classes are repetitive. Some classes follow the same structure every week or every class, where it's like first we're going to read, and then we're going to talk about what we read, and then we're going to listen to a lecture, and then we're going to write. And it's the same structure every time, and it gets boring. Now, some students talk about maybe some EAP courses are not applicable beyond EAP. So maybe what we're doing EAP is not very useful beyond the EAP. Remember now, students are not English majors. They're not education majors. The students that I teach, my graduate students, they are nursing and public health. So they're doing nursing stuff. And then I have other students who are graduate students doing information science and technology. So they're doing stuff with coding, with AI. And then here I am trying to teach them how to write a literature review in English about nursing stuff or about technology stuff. I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't know nothing about coding. They're like, oh, we do Python. I'm like, oh, Python, that's a snake. Python is also a code. Also, we have students who say they can't understand the teachers. This can be due to your accent, your dialect, your pace, and word choice. So once again, teachers teaching at too high of a level, maybe they go too fast, maybe they have a bit of an accent. I don't have too much of an accent, I don't think. I have a little bit. I try to control my accent sometimes. But I do know I say some words sometimes that people don't understand. So I have to keep that in mind. Now, because of that, students struggle to comprehend questions and instructions. So they don't understand what the teacher is saying, they don't understand what to do, then they end up not doing anything and they just play on their phones, you know. And now also, especially with my context in China, students are reluctant to ask questions for clarification. So they would just sit there and not understand just because they don't want to ask a question. So then it gets to a thing where they just get further behind. Okay. With all that stuff in mind, that's a lot. But we're gonna look at doing two things today. We're gonna look at making tasks more fun and active. So trying to make, students saying, some of the activities are kind of boring, we talk to the same person, we don't do much, it's just blah blah. So we're gonna try to make some tasks, activities kind of more fun and engaging. And then also we're going to look at building rapport. So we saw some students talk about, we don't have a good relationship with the teacher. We're kind of scared to talk to them. We don't want, we can tell that they don't want to get close with us. So that we're going to talk about how to build and improve rapport as well, just a little bit. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So we're going to look at 4 tasks today. And these are tasks which I have done with students before, or I have seen other people do with students at universities and stuff, and they're pretty common. kind of task. You see them also with IELTS or whatnot, if for those like big kind of exams. So we're gonna look at four kind of tasks, and we're gonna pretty much think of ways to make them more fun or engaging, more active, versus just this piece of paper and fill in the blanks. That's kind of boring. Okay, we're gonna look at these one by one. You guys can throw ideas in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself really quick. But we're gonna just try to spend a couple of minutes on each one. Cool. If we work together live, this will be a group activity and then group presentations afterwards. But let's check these out. So we have four kind of task or what's the other word for a task? Not activity. Pretty much a task. So we're gonna look at four kind of tasks. And students need to practice for a presentation. That's one thing. They need to practice for a speaking test. Is another thing. We have some pre-teaching vocabulary. So we're gonna teach some vocabulary stuff. And then we're also going to work on paragraph structure. So these are our four activities that we're going to look at. First one is here about practicing for a presentation. So students have made a poster. They have to do a poster presentation. They have made their posters. So here's an example of a poster that one of my students made maybe a year and a half ago. Very nice poster. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just an example of a poster. So they have made their posters. They have not practiced presenting them yet. They have to do the presentation next week. So this week is the practice. What can we do to practice for a presentation? You guys can use the chat box. You guys can mute yourself, but what can we do to help them practice? What are some ideas? Anybody, what do you guys think? I'm looking through the chat box now. Anybody have ideas about how to practice for a presentation? Or practice for a poster presentation?
Can I start?
Go for it. Yes.
So I think that especially helpful is brainstorming with students and predicting some weak points which might fail the whole strategy. And we can brainstorm together and launch a discussion with our students and just exchanging ideas and trying to predict what might be failures so as to prevent them and to work out some strategies to find better ways of coping with it. And sometimes listeners can be very helpful. They give ideas and give some prompts the way they see a better way of doing the same task. This is what we've practiced with my students.
Cool. So a little bit different than what I was thinking. Let me show you some things I have. So, oops, we'll come back there. Oh, have these all over the place. So with this one, practicing for a presentation. I
And
usually would have students do these in pairs or groups. Maybe you present with, yes, ma'am.
And we always followed Penny Earth rule, 5P rule. Perfect preparation prevents poor presentation.
Yeah, totally. So here's some ideas. Like once they have everything ready, they just need to practice the speaking parts, practice doing the presentation. So one thing that I usually do is have them do it in pairs and groups. So, and then usually what I do is we switch people around. And I do what's called an ABCD. Pretty much, if you guys know AB, Like you find a partner, or everybody either is A or B, and then you match up A with B. Okay, cool. The A person goes first, the B person listens, then they switch. B goes and A listens. So that's an AB. I expanded to an ABCD, where then you have four different people or four different letters amongst the group. Everybody's either an A, a B, or C, or a D. Okay, cool. And I tell them, okay, A's get with B's, y'all present to each other. And then C's with D's, y'all present to each other. And then they switch again. So now I want a B with a C and an A with a D. And they do it again. And then they switch again, where we have an A with a D and a B with a C, stuff like that. So switching them around a lot. And they do the same presentation. They do the presentation again and again and again just to practice more. The whole idea of putting miles on the mouth. But then they present it to a different person and they get to hear a different person's presentation each time. So then that helps it not be too boring. Also, we can do what's called a 3-2-1, which is pretty much where each time they do it, I reduce the amount of time that they have to do it. So at first I tell them to do it in 3 minutes, and then I tell them, okay, now you have to do it in 2 minutes. Now you have to do your presentation in 1 minute. That makes them have to go faster. It makes them have to summarize. They have to cut out a lot of the BS, pretty much, a lot of the filler words, a lot of the. You don't have time for that. You have to go fast. And then that's quite useful for, speaking exams and stuff. We can do a gallery walk, which pretty much is you have split the class in half, and half the class has their posters up on the wall, and the other half walks around and hears people present and stuff. And then they switch roles. All this and all this stuff going on where there's lots of people talking at the same time, the teacher monitors with a notepad. So like I usually have like a notepad or my phone, and I take notes of mistakes students are having. Maybe they're not talking loud enough, maybe they're not using enough body language, maybe they're making some kind of grammar mistake, anything like that. And then once they finish presenting, then we talk about their mistakes. Okay, cool. Okay. Now for a speaking test. So here's a kind of thing where the students have a speaking test coming up. And there's kind of things where they will get a question, they kind of draw a question, or they get a piece of paper that has these questions on it, and then they have to, answer a question based on, a picture and a question like this. All right. Now, because this is kind of similar to the last thing that we just looked at, we can pretty much do the same kind of stuff where it is, we can put this stuff on flashcards and students pick a flashcard and then they have to practice in pairs or a group. Switch around pairs of a lot, so you're not just talking to the same person. That gets boring. You can do the whole ABCD thing again, where they find a different partner each time. Reducing time again, if you want to do that, make them speak faster. And of course, teacher monitors. Okay, so those were our two speaking ones. Let's look at some of our other stuff. All right, now here we have a vocabulary thing. So this is from a book. So this is from a nice little EAP book for listening and speaking. The students are about to listen to a lecture. And here are some words that are going to be in the lecture. So we have to match. The idea is to match the words with the definitions. Okay, just a book activity. Very basic. We see this a lot. How can we make this more interesting or more engaging for the students? What are some ideas? Fernando, can you see me now, buddy? Valentina can see, Fons can see. I know Fernando said he was having issues, so it might be still on your side.
And now I think we are very lucky that we can enjoy and use a lot of applications and use some AI generated activities. Yeah, so we can watch some short videos and for example, my students and I have been using the platform AI Go, so created by Paul Rain. He is British, but he is has been teaching English in Japanese universities. And there are a lot of matching activities with vocabulary. And there is a function of fast check, instant check. So students do these activities and they get the score at the same immediately after they finish it. So, and the
That's nice.
paraphrase is
Can you
very
put that
helpful.
website in the chat box?
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
And
can you put
there
that?
are
Yeah, put that in the
It's
chat
very
box because that's
it's
new to
very
me.
interesting. I think the peculiarity of this very platform is that there are three levels of difficulty. The same text is presented in three difficulty levels, so you can adjust it to the level of your students to prevent them from complaining
Oh,
that they don't understand and your level is too high for them. And besides,
oh,
I use Perplexity to
interesting.
design such tasks for my students, so based on the needs of the topic we cover.
Beautiful. That is kind of cool. That's a different way of thinking about it. Huh. Yeah. So now,
And
does anybody else
right.
have any other ideas? So using the AI was really cool. So I was thinking about how can we make it where students get up out of their chairs. They work with other students. They do stuff around the classroom. So pretty much taking this activity out of the book. What can we do to take this out of the book and do something else with it? Anybody else have any other ideas?
Um, I can share the one activity that I used to do with my students. So usually
Yeah.
I did it
Mhm.
like I cut the words and then I cut the definitions and then I distributed the words and definition to different
Yeah.
students. And then I give the instruction like stand up and find your partner and then sit together. So once they find, for example, the word with the definition, they can sit together as a partner. Like I did it for several reasons. For example, sometimes when I wanted a kind of the definition, I did the same. So, or as a warm-up activity or as a icebreaker activity, for example, usually I do the same. So, or in order to check whether do they want to stand up and with the words and definition. And once they find out each other, they sit together as a partner.
Okay,
Nice.
dear,
So that's really cool. That's a good like icebreaker. Yeah. Well, who
yes,
Mukadam? Yeah.
like divide in four groups and to give all them with definition and with new words. Then for checking, I will be on the at the blackboard and I will write new words on the blackboard and one of the group volunteer will read with one definition. Then I will check thumbs up or thumbs down if it is correct or false. Look like we will continue that to find the meaning of the new words with groups also. Thank you so much.
Cool. Nice. All right. Awesome. So yeah, we have some good ideas. I know, Ganora, I liked yours because that's something that I would do for an icebreaker. Okay, cool. So here's some of mine. They're kind of similar to what you guys already said. But once again, if nothing else, just do this in groups and pairs. If you don't want people moving around, you can't have people moving around. Maybe you have too many students or stuff like that. Just have them work with a partner. Cut out and match, which is kind of what Ganora had, but I have it more. Maybe they do this in a group or a pair. They work together to figure it out. Um, But yeah, you can have it, you can do it in a group and pair. Pretty much Gonora had it where everybody has a word and everybody has a definition, and you had to find your partner. So that was really nice. Another thing is called a running dictation, which is pretty much you give the students one of the things, like you either give them the vocab or the definition, and then you put the other thing on the wall, and they pretty much have to run around and try to find how they match. So pretty much you would give the students the list of vocabulary, but the words, the definitions are cut out around the wall, and they have to go around and walk around and find it. You can just have them write the answers on the board. Like with this right here, I just write 1 through 10, maybe 2 or 3 times, like however I want to break my class down. If I want to break my class down, like if I have 3 sections, like here are 5 students, here are 5 students, here are 5 students, like group 1, group 2, group 3, just write 1 through 10 on the board 3 times, and then they do a race to write the answers on the board just to see who gets done first. Just something fun, something competitive, something kind of like a game. And then they're still doing the same thing. They're still practicing the vocabulary and seeing if they got the right answers, but now they're doing it in a team, in a game, in a funner way. Okay, cool. Next thing was doing the paragraph structure. So this is where the students pretty much this is something that we did in my university. I made this material myself for an example paragraph. And I did this last week with some teachers. It was actually quite difficult. But so we have these sentences, and we want the students to organize the sentences in order. Right now, they're all mixed up. They're what we call scrambled. They're mixed up, and we need to put them in the right order. A lot of times in books, you will just see it like this, and then you have to read them, and I think which one's number one, which one's second, which one's third, stuff like that. Okay, now what can we do with this? Anybody? Okay, let me show you some things that I have because it's kind of similar to what we've already talked about. Oh, I see somebody said something. Of done before, or half of the census, the other person has the other half they have to share.
I
Cut
have
out an
book.
Hi, Ninja. I forgot if I said that right.
And yeah,
Just
also.
okay, cool. Another thing is a cut out and unscramble, which is pretty much you cut out the sentences, and then the students have to work together to figure out which one comes first, which one comes second. I think if you guys came to the one workshop, the one webinar I did with games and activities, this was in there for that with the lion and the mouse. But then, of course, it's the same thing. You just have an unscrambled text. Okay. Also, we can put some stuff on the wall. The students are going to match it. Ooh, this is wrong. Haha. Right answers on the board and make it a race. So like the same thing, number one, number two, number three, groups for race. All right, cool. Now, we don't have a lot of time. So I'm just going to show you like how this activity would look like in my class. And I've done this before with students. But this is the unscrambling of text, so the paragraph structure. Divide the class into teams, maybe 3, 4, 5 people per team. Each group gets a text that's been cut into pieces. So pretty much each sentence is on a different piece of paper. And they need to arrange the text. And then you give them a time limit, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3. First group to rearrange it correctly wins and stuff like that. So then pretty much this is what it is with this text here that we looked at, the one here about paragraph structure. So pretty much that has been cut out. I explain the rules here, and then I hand out the cutout text. Do not have number one, the first sentence be A, the second sentence be B, the third sentence be C. Don't do that. That's too easy. And then when you cut it out, you want to make sure that they're not cut out in order, because then they'll put them together like a puzzle. So you don't want them to do any kind of way to cheat. You want them to actually read it, understand it, and think about it. But then here I have this way of showing the answers. So like the first one is L, the sentence, second one, and then I remember what I do is I ask the students, what's the third sentence? If anybody gets it wrong, or if most of the students get it wrong, we go back and we kind of look and try to figure out why did they get it wrong. Because if the students all got it wrong, then we need to stop and try to figure out what went wrong and how we can fix it. But yeah, and then all the way through. And so whenever I show answers to students, I do it one by one. And then just so, because if you give it like this, it's too much at one time and nobody will, you get lost. So it's better to do stuff one by one. And then also with that, you can stop if students, get something wrong. And then you can explore and look into why they got it wrong and then help them see how to get the right answer. Fun. All right. Now we're gonna move on to rapport. So building rapport with our students. Right. Yeah, see all kinds of stuff in the chat box. Cool. Oh, thanks. So Mukadam, I think I said that right. If you want these slides, whatever, just send me something on Instagram or WeChat or my email and stuff, and I'll share you. Yeah, with anybody, I'll share you these slides and stuff and my materials. But okay, let's discuss why. It's because we saw earlier some teachers don't want to have a good relationship with their students. Why do some teachers struggle to, or just don't try to, just don't want to build rapport with students? Why is this an issue? Because this is an issue. It's a big issue. Why does this happen? What do you guys think? And then we'll look at how to fix it. But first, why is this a problem? Why do I have teachers who just don't care about the students? That as soon as class is over, they go to their office. During break time, they go to their office to hide from students. Why? Why is this a thing? So in a lot of places, I'll go ahead and summarize. A lot of places have this kind of power distance idea where pretty much people in a position of authority or power have a distance between them and the people that they are over. So this is pretty much like your boss and you working for your boss. There's a distance there. Um, Parents with kids, there's a power thing. And then also with teachers and students, there's a power thing. So a lot of places still have the idea that I am big, you are small, I am right, you are wrong. We cannot be friends. We are not friends. I am your teacher. I'm not your friend. I will and then don't want to do anything like that. Now, I'm not saying we should totally do that, but be friendly, be nice, be approachable, be interested in the students. A lot of teachers approach teaching as a job, like just a job, and this is how I get money. Maybe I should do that. Maybe that's why I don't make very much money. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Teachers forget their students. Oh yeah, don't call me teacher.
Mr. Mitchell,
Don't know how to do it right.
can I answer this
Hey, Fonz, what's
question?
up? Yeah, go ahead, Fonz.
Yeah. So telling the truth, it's so difficult question for me. Why? Because I don't struggle to build a report with my students because in like any like break times, all the students from all our groups, they are coming to me. But in my opinion, why do some teachers struggle to build a report with the students? I think that's because of when teachers are overloaded with lesson planning, grading, or administrative tasks, they might not have enough time or energy to invest in personal connections. It's just my opinion, but like I'm trying to do my best when my students come, so like to sit and talk with them. Or another deal, it can be like managing big groups makes it hard to get to know every student individually. For example, in our country, some schools, I don't mean like all the schools, but we have got like private schools, it's like state schools. Some schools, they like they are very large class, approximately like 30 up to
Mm,
40 students, and teaching for 45 minutes and managing big groups. It makes really hard to get to know every student individually, even for 9 months, you know. Um,
mm,
and what else I can say? Like about like if the students are from different countries, it can be like problem too. If the students and teachers are not confident in shared language, yes, it limits also interactions,
yeah,
because of the differences in cultural norms about communication. I mean, um, so
yeah. That's the thing as well.
and sometimes like when
Cool.
like
I'm gonna
the
cut you
group
there
is
because we're
very
almost out of
large,
time.
it is like even it is very difficult, like all the names even it can be like this too. Yeah, mostly like it's just my opinion.
I would like to add, dear doctor
Yeah.
Mitchell, I
Hey,
think
go ahead.
so. Yes, of course, thank you. I think so. It's up to teachers. They don't have the lack of their knowledge about psychology. I think so, because every student, yes, have different character. They don't manage the students. They don't know their interesting. Therefore, I think so. Thank you.
Yeah,
And can I
Can I,
add?
cool. So I'm gonna go to the next question. This is our
can I,
last.
can I add?
Really fast.
Good evening.
Go, 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 go,
Okay,
go, go.
thank you. Okay, maybe uh, some teachers are too focused on their lesson and forget about personal interaction, and
Ah,
some like the communication skills or confidence to establish rapport. Maybe sometimes fear of losing control or discipline prevents them from being close to their students. No, maybe some simply believe that emotional closeness with students is unnecessary, and maybe sometimes culture or age differences make understanding and connection difficult. I think so.
yeah,
It's my opinion because it's very important for teaching and between teachers and students. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
And just
beautiful.
a small addition, maybe some teachers feel ill at ease. It is like
Yeah.
speaking in public. It is like being on a stage. So we teach spontaneous speech, but sometimes we are afraid that to be mocked at, to be laughed at, and so
Mm,
sometimes students get criticism from teachers. But when they ask, "And what would you offer? What are your suggestions?" and the teachers are afraid to feel at a loss and just not to give them a model answer immediately.
beautiful. So let me.
Can I add more about like my own experience? For example, there are different students and personality, personality can also say, like can talk louder than we just like think too. We are not shy, but there are some students who are very shy, like to break the ice, to come to you and talk. Maybe they are a little bit afraid that how she will just like if I ask such a personal question or anything like any topic, what will be her reaction, maybe they will think. And also for teachers, for some teachers, personally, like past negative experiences can also, can lead to the difficulties. Like if a teacher has had difficult students or classrooms, they might become like guarded or less trusting, and this previous frustration can make them avoid deeper connections. Like this can be also the reason why they struggle.
Beautiful. All right. So, because we're running out of time, y'all, really quick, probably use the group chat because I probably don't have time for everybody to talk. What are some ways that we can build or improve rapport with students? I'll give you like 30 seconds to put some in the group chat because, like, I'm trying not to go over time because I'm sure we're gonna have lots of questions anyway. All right, let me share some of my ideas, things I suggest. And then y'all can throw stuff in the group chat if you want to. All right. Firstly, get to know your students' names. This is from a kind of like a comedy skit where the teacher comes in, he doesn't know students' names. He mispronounces all of their names. So Aaron becomes Aaron. Blake becomes Blackie. Stuff like that. So learn your kids' names. So somebody was talking about, oh, we have large classes. At my last university, all the teachers had 60 students. I learned all my 60 students' names in 2 weeks. All 60 of them, their Chinese names and their English names. Other teachers maybe got 10. And I was really mean to the teachers about that. And anytime the teachers complain about the students, I'm like, dude, you don't know their name. You don't know their name. So no, I learned all their names really quickly. That's something that I put pride on, is learning their names. Next up, show an interest in them. Get to know them. Ask them what they like. Get to know what they like to do. What kind of music? What kind of movies? Use that kind of music in the background. Where are they from? Get to know where they're from. Show them that you know their first language. If you have students who are from a different place than you, let them know, show them that you understand their language, that you understand their culture. That is really cool to them. Okay? So like if I have students from, oh, I actually have a student from Tajikistan. So I was telling him, oh, I work with people from Tajikistan. He taught me he corrected me how to pronounce Dushanbe because I thought it was Dushanbe. But he said, no, it's Dushanbe. I'm like, oh, cool. I got it now. Sweet. And then, I have a
Hey,
student who is from Cameroon. I have a student from Cameroon, and so I'm able to talk to her in French, and then showing her that I know some French makes her like, wow, this is kind of cool. So that kind of gets their interest in you and stuff. Doing stuff, team building stuff. So doing icebreakers, doing games like the first day of class, the first week of class, first week of semester. Doing something fun. Don't get into the text too much. Don't get into the hard stuff too much at first. Do fun stuff the first week or first day. Be nice. Smile. Be happy to be there. Because some kids come to class and they have the best thing about their day is seeing a nice teacher who cares about them. That's what it's like for me. I had a horrible, like some really bad times whenever I was a kid. The best thing in my life was some teachers. Chat beyond the classroom. If you see them around, talk to them. Talk to them in the hallway. If you see them in town, say hi. I've had students stop me at like train stations or some ancient street in town. If your school or university has like English clubs, do something cool like that. Do something fun. And very sadly, lots of places don't have English clubs or English corners. Lots of universities don't. It kind of sucks. Now, this is called WeChat. Now, WeChat is a kind of social media thing in China. So for people who are not in China, this would be like sharing your social media with students. Maybe follow each other on IG, follow each other on Facebook, stuff like that. A lot of students say that using WeChat, of course, the study that I did was in China, that kind of helps build a relationship. And then it's kind of cool. What you do is you post what are called moments, which is pretty much like you post stuff on your IG or your Facebook. And it's kind of cool to see, like, oh, some student went to this one city that I want to go to next week. And so then I can ask them about their holiday and some recommendations. Or like if I have a student whose hometown is the same hometown as my wife's hometown, and then we can meet at the train station one day and talk. And it's cool to meet, for me as a foreigner, it's cool to have, meet other the families and do stuff like that and introduce my family and stuff. It's cool. It's fun. All right, let me summarize really quick because we are technically out of time. EAP can be boring, period. It can be boring, but we can try to fight that. Firstly, relate and familiarize yourself with the students. Build rapport. Because even if the class is boring, if it's a teacher you like, you can get through it if you like the teacher. So group building activities, chats beyond the classroom, doing social media with them if you guys want to do that. Some people say yes, some people say no. I wrote a paper about using WeChat that got published. So yeah, some people think it's good, some people think it's not. Understanding the students' culture and language. So lots of foreigners will come to China to teach, and they are here for a long time, and they never learn the language, which I think is absolutely horrible. So learning about the students. Improving your, well, not necessarily improve, but think more about your teaching. So the whole idea that teaching does not equal learning. So don't just lecture, follow the book. Don't think, lots of teachers go to class and they think, what's the best or easiest way to teach, blah, blah, blah. So don't do that. You want to think instead, what's the best or most fun way to learn about blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. More and better activities, games, group work, pair work. So more activities, better activities. These are also things that students want from my study. Adapted to the students. If students are struggling, go back and help them. More and better monitoring, once again. Also doing more one-on-one feedback. So as you're walking around the classroom, help students individually. Don't just lecture to the whole class. Spend some time with different students, especially the ones who are struggling. Give out your class materials, share stuff. Maybe not, probably not before class, because then they're gonna know all the answers, but after class. I usually share my PPTs, I share my examples, I share my materials. I'll share this with you guys if y'all email me or hit me up on IG or whatever. Now, some students talked about, the topics can be kind of boring. Can we sometimes let students choose their own topics? So at my last university, and even at my current university, I pretty much just teach writing, the structure. So my last university, I did they had to write a compare contrast or a, cause and effect. But then they can pretty much pick their topic themselves, like cause and effect of pollution or deforestation. With my graduate students now, they're writing their thesis. They choose their own topic. They write about what they want to, and then I just help them with the mechanics. Okay, final thing, adjust your speech. Keep I+1 in mind. So remember, you want to be just a little bit more difficult than where the students can't understand. So that means sometimes you have to make your language a little bit more simple or slower to help the students comprehend. Because if they're not understanding, then it's pointless. Beautiful. Okay, now I will move on to questions. And here are my socials. So there's my IG, there's my Facebook, there's my blog, there's my email again, if you guys want to get in touch. While that is up, I'm done and we can do questions.
Okay, thank you so
I'm 4 minutes over. Darn.
Thank you so much. We have a couple of questions from Guzail and then from Fernando. So let's move to first to Guzail. Almost you have answered some of the questions, but let's see. I remember there were some questions from her. So she's asking, what is more important in EAP, language or academic skills? And is it important for academic English to always be interesting, or is effectiveness is the key?
Beautiful. So, what's more important, language or academic skill? Usually, what you want to do is so the main purpose is the academic skill. They're there to learn academic skills. So that's why you see lots of EAP classes don't really do a lot of focus on grammar. I don't think I've ever taught grammar. My last university that I was there for 2 years, never taught grammar. My current university where I'm at now, I don't nothing grammar. So I teach academic skills, how to reference, how to cite, how to synthesize your literature review, how to structure an argument, how to, do stuff like that, how to organize stuff with, topic sentence and site posting. Okay, cool. So the main focus is the academic skills like that. Now we do those in English. So the idea is they also develop their English by learning about these skills, by doing these things in English by writing an essay in English. Does that sound okay, Guzana?
Yeah, great.
Beautiful. Okay,
Perfect.
now your second question is about does EAP always have to be interesting? No. So like what we saw earlier, we can just do those kind of games or activities maybe once a week. Maybe you do it in a class, like in the last class, you can tell students were very bored. So then you think, okay, next class, we're going to do something more fun. So you don't have to do it every day. It's going to be kind of difficult to do it every day because with EAP, it's very intensive. You don't have lots of time for fun and games. You have to actually write essays and do research. So you don't have time for fun and games all the time. Maybe you can do a cool little activity for 5 minutes. Maybe you can do one once a week, but it doesn't have to be all boring all the time.
I really
Thanks, hon.
appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem,
Thank you.
dude. Send me a message sometime if you need anything.
Okay, it's very useful. It's very interesting and useful topic
Yeah,
today.
It's very
Thank you.
cool.
interesting.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
by the
Cool.
way, do you use any AI-generated applications for checking students' thesis?
No, I don't
Could
use
you
any
could you
AI to check
recommend
my
any?
students'
No,
work.
no. I see.
Oh, I will see if I can. But yeah, I use AI sometimes, but I don't really use it to help me grade papers or grade or anything like that or give feedback. I do that by myself. Because I think that's what a good teacher does. Um, because
Thank
I
you
know,
very
so
much.
I'm a student, right? So I'm a doctorate student. If my professor says that he uses AI to give me feedback on my writing, I will be very upset. Same thing if I publish, like I try to publish my papers, if the editors tell me that, oh, we don't read your paper, we use AI to read your
Aynı
paper,
personuma.
I'm not gonna
I
want
have
them.
a question.
Yes,
Thank you.
Mukadam.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Today was amazing session, dear doctor. I really enjoyed from your session. As you mentioned, I really liked your speech because as I also interested to learning by books, handbooks. Thank you so much. Therefore, my question relates to this that you have mentioned about it. I would like to know any you should please suggest any resources, good resources that includes about engaging, yes, material activity that engage to develop academic writing skills of our students. Thank you so much. Look like
Okay,
material.
beautiful.
Thank you.
So, very interestingly, I have an article coming out in the next newsletter with EWB. Gunnar, that comes out next month, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Late in November. Yes,
Cool.
hopefully.
So in the publications that's going to come out in the EWB no, what's it called? Newsletter next week is an article that is a workshop about the AI one. So this is the AI workshop. Now, pretty much in that you can see how some ideas that I have about helping students use AI and different kind of AI tools for teachers. So you see that, and then so you were asking about stuff to help make EAP more interesting. Let me here. Tell you what, email me or find me on IG and stuff, and I will send you some stuff. I'll send you today's slides. I'll send you the materials that I've made for students. I published in a magazine recently called Modern English Teacher. Like I think, no, sorry. I publish a lot, so I forget where I publish things. But this one here, I'm trying to get this kind of workshop published with a kind of teaching magazine sometime soon. I will let you know. But yeah, y'all email me if you want materials or send me a message on IG and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good. Yeah, it's really nice that you are flexible. Yes, like after the webinar, even if you like giving your time with the
Yeah,
uh,
I'm
teachers as well.
fine. I'm just
Thank you
gonna
for
take a
that.
shower and then go to sleep, and then tomorrow I'm trying to go to grassland.
Good.
Yeah,
Yes,
so I'm
thank you
fine.
so much,
I'm
Mr.
fine.
Mitchell. Yes, for your wonderful webinar. This is
No, thank
amazing.
you.
Yes, and
Well,
we
you
really
guys are amazing.
appreciate, yes, your time, your effort, and your contribution that you are doing with the English Without Borders. Thank you so much. And
Yeah, thank you.
dear audience, as you can see, Mr. Mitchell is like really flexible, like he can answer your questions anytime in other social media platform. You can use these chances as well. And I'm really like sorry for um, like taking your time, and
Oh,
I
that's
wish
fine. It's
you the
always fun to talk to
earliest
people, especially
recovery. Yes.
Guzala, who always has
Yeah.
lots of questions.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you so much. We have really enjoyed it.
No
Yeah.
problem,
You've
dude. It's been
survived.
really
You're
cool.
a real hero. You've coped with
No,
your seasonal flu.
no. Are we still recording? I need to show this to my professor that somebody said I was a hero. Because I get my doctorate based on on how much impact I have on the field. So
Great.
cool.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no,
We've
y'all
really
reach out if y'all have
enjoyed
any
every
questions,
minute of it.
whatever. No, thank you, thank you.
Great. Yes, dear audience, thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining, for actively engaging in the webinar. Thank you so much for your interest. And Mr. Mitchell, great appreciation from English Without Borders team. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I wish you the earliest recovery, and we will stay in touch.
Oh yeah.
See you on your next webinar, and dear
Yeah.
audience. Yes, see you on our next Thursday webinar next week. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Enjoy your evening,
Cool.
and good luck to all.
Thank you,
Bye,
Mom.
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice one.
Likewise. Thank you so much,
See you,
Mrs.
Paul. See
Gulnora
you,
and
Guzala.
Mr. Mitchell.
Nora,
Okay.
thank you.
Bye.